There we go.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us on the Killer Author Club. We have another great show for you tonight, a really special show, and we will give you our intro and see you on the flip side.
Thought you really loved me, guess I was wrong. Thought you'd never leave me, guess I was dumb. Waited like forever to be your plus one, but I guess you were done. Left me at
Hi, welcome to the Killer Author Club. I am Killer Kara coming from California to be with you tonight. And we have Killer Heather. I always point the wrong way. Okay, over here. We have Killer Heather live from Iowa, Killer Kimberly all the way from Amsterdam, where it's in the middle of the night. It's 3 in the morning and she rallies and does this. And this is her summer mood. And our special guest, Killer Julie Clark. Welcome.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Yay. Okay, you guys, if you've been with us all along, you know that we came together, Heather and Kimberly and I came together because we all had books coming out at the same time. It was still the pandemic, not that it isn't still, but it was still lockdown pandemic. And we all were thinking, like, how can we talk about our books and kind of engage you guys in a way that's maybe different than what you're used to in other shows and other events. So that's when the Killer Author Club began. And we're really happy and thankful you guys are all here and everybody's signing on, which is awesome. So hello. If you're new, it's really easy. You can put comments in the comment boxes on YouTube or Facebook, and we will read them as many as we can and questions for our guest author. We'd also love you guys to follow us on YouTube, killerauthorclub.com, because then we know really how much we're ticking up. We kind of like to track that, which is fun. And anyway, and also you guys, as we said last time, and I'm like dripping in merchandise because I didn't wear it last time. We have our new Killer Author Club website, and we have hats and t-shirts, and oh, this is really fun. We have TBR. Liz is killing me. Isn't that great? I love it. Anyway, so if you go at killerauthorclub.com, you'll find everything Killer Author Club and more. So now, without further ado, Heather, will you please introduce our killer guest?
Yes, I'm so excited to introduce Julie Clark. She is a New York Times bestselling author of The Last Flight, which received 4-star reviews. I mean, writers beg for hope for 1-star review, and she had 4. And the New York Times called it thoroughly absorbing. Her new thriller, The Lies I Tell, is an Amazon Best Book of the Month, Apple Best Book of the Month, Indie Next Pick for July, and Library Reads Pick for June. And it debuted on the New York Times bestseller list. So that is just absolutely wonderful. So we're so happy for you, Julie. Her debut novel, The Ones We Choose, was published in 2018 and has been optioned for television by Lionsgate. And she lives in Los Angeles with her 2 sons, a golden doodle with poor impulse control. I can remember that. And you can find her at julieclark.com. And so now a little more about Julie's newest thriller, The Lies I Tell. It's been called highly thrilling by the Entertainment Weekly, and People.com says you won't be able to put it down. We have 2 women, 2 aliases. Meg Williams, Maggie Littleton, Melody Wild, different names for the same person depending on the town, depending on the job. She's a con artist who erases herself to become whoever you need her to be. A college student, a life coach, a real estate agent. Nothing about her is real. She slides alongside you and tells you exactly what you need to hear. By the time she's home, you've likely lost everything. Now we have Kat Roberts, who's been waiting 10 years for the woman who upended her life to return. And now that she has, Kat is determined to be the one who exposes her. But as the 2 women grow closer, Kat's long-held assumptions begin to crumble, leaving Kat to wonder who Meg's true target is. So that is our book and our author we're featuring this week, The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, welcome. So before we get into the questions, we always start with our killer cocktail. So tell us about yours, because I love the title, The Lies I Tell While Drinking Wine.
I am a huge fan of the Maker Wine Company, and what they do is they feature, it's like you can find them online, and they curate wines from female-owned, minority-owned, LGBTQ-owned wineries. You can buy them in single-serving cans. You get a 6-pack, basically, and they ship it to you in most states. Although I did do an order from Delaware the other day, and they're like, "It looks like you're in Delaware. We don't ship to Delaware." So I think there are probably some like state laws about alcohol shipping. But anyway, if you're in another state, not Delaware, sorry.
Or Iowa.
Or Iowa.
Iowa.
Well, maybe you can get it shipped. It wasn't in store, but
Okay.
No, it's not sold in stores. It's not sold in stores, but I love this company. Their wines are really good. And if you're like me, who only drinks a glass every now and then, it's really great because you don't waste wine. You know, like I would buy a bottle of wine and then I would open it and I'd have a glass and then it just sits on my counter and goes bad. So I really like this. I really like it a lot. So I'm a huge fan of Maker. They have like a can club. If you join the can club, you get a little tumbler. It's all. So I told them, like, I'll give a promo code. I'm going to talk all about your wine, and I have a promo code.
I love it. I love it. Girls, killers, what are y'all drinking?
Oh, Heather, you always have something interesting.
well,
You couldn't get
alliance with Julie, I did buy wine in a can. This is called Ava Grace Rosé wine, California wine. It's such a pretty can. I don't know. That's why I picked it. I'm not a wine connoisseur, so I picked it like I picked my wine bottles if I like the label.
the label. Yeah.
And then I'm drinking it in our Killer Author Club.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Merch alert.
Merch alert.
And Kimberly, are you drinking sleepy time tea?
Yeah, it's ginger tea. It's my latest thing. You know, like the ginger shots, I just kind of like dump some in hot water, and that's my new thing.
That's really healthy.
I figured in the middle of the night, maybe I'll skip the booze.
I, of course, have my usual white wine. Although I was just recently in Paris and I renewed my love of Mersal, which is a kind of wine, and I won't do it justice, and I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but I'm trying to like get off of the Chardonnay thing and branch out somewhere. And so anyway, this is my new quest. Anywho, so cheers, everybody. Cheers, Julie. Thanks for being here.
For having me.
Cheers.
Yay. All right. So is it time for the kill? Oh, of course it's time for the question. And my dog's bark. Sorry, everyone. This is really a regular thing every episode, and I really apologize for it. Okay. So, Julie.
Yes.
Every week we have a killer question for our killer guest. So your killer question is, how do you kill a friendship?
Well, I think that you kill a friendship by withholding information, lying, being unreliable, and never ever telling the truth about who you are or what you want or anything, basically pretending to be one thing and really being someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you were thinking about, because your book kind of deals with killing or friendships and women and how they do make a friendship, was your idea from the start for this book to have a friendship that was going to be killed from the beginning?
And I'm not even going to confirm or deny that the friendship in this book is killed.
Right.
I would say that female friendship to me is really important, and it does play a role. Female power plays a role in the books that I write in general. And so I'm never going to have, if I have a character who's lying, cheating, stealing, doing the things that Meg Williams is doing in this book, they're going to have a really good reason for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to do it because they're a horrible person. I don't think that horrible people, I don't know. I always like to approach horrible people in my books as sort of people who have their own backstory and their own reasons for doing the horrible things that they do. And it's my responsibility to kind of know what those are, you know? So hopefully the reader can see some glimmers of humanity through their horribleness, because I think that's just how humans are.
Right. And I also think those are the most interesting kind of characters in a book, especially when it's someone who's, you know, a villain. Not that Meg is necessarily the villain in this story, but, you know, I mean, that makes them interesting. And that kind of leads into my biggest question was like, and I don't even know that it's a question, but I went in thinking, okay, one of these girls I'm not going to like, but then I ended up rooting for both of them. And like, did you go in, trying to make that happen, trying to make readers love them both?
Yes, I did. I really wanted the reader to not know which one they wanted to root for, to feel conflicted. But mostly because I wanted to write Meg as like this morally gray character who makes these not good decisions. But I always love the challenge of trying to figure out a way to make the reader root for her anyway. Because I love doing that as a reader. I love seeing the villain turn around and become good. I love, I love those twists actually in books. I won't say, and TV shows and movies. And I won't say like which one specifically because I don't want to spoil it, but
Right.
Yeah.
And I noticed about throughout the book just how you just so seamlessly pulled us back and forth in time and into these different personas that Meg had and back and forth. How do you approach that as a writer? And we often ask this question. I'm sure you get it all the time. Pantser or plotter?
Yeah.
With this one, I was a little bit more of a plotter. I'm not really ever a true pantser. I have done that before. I think I did that with the very first book I ever wrote, which was delightfully fun, but horribly written. I'm just like all over the place. And so I do kind of like to have somewhat of a map, but it's a pretty simple map. Like, here's where we are in the beginning. Here's what I want to happen in the middle. Here's how I want the whole thing to resolve. And then as you write, you sort of you get a rhythm for it and you start to understand like, okay, something needs to happen here. Somebody needs to learn something. Somebody needs to lose something. Something needs to be revealed. Something needs to be withheld. All of those decisions that you make as a thriller writer. But with this particular book, I sold it on a synopsis to my publisher. I had been working on a different book that they were like meh on. So
nice.
It's like super great feeling. I had spent like a year working on it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, I had been thinking about this other idea. And I actually, to be honest, was kind of meh on it too. Like I had really cracking up to the first half. And then I was like, I don't really know where I'm going from here. I mean, I was struggling with it too. So I wasn't too brokenhearted that they didn't really like it because I was not loving it. But anyway, so I had this idea for a con artist book for a long time about a female con artist. And that was pretty much it, like a female con artist, like period, the end. And so I cranked out something that I imagined that a book proposal would look like, which I have no idea if it actually does. But I basically just wrote out sort of like, here's what's going to happen in the beginning. Then we're going to go back in time with Meg and see how that all worked and that first con. And then we're going to go back to the present time. And then we're going to go back to a third con. And then we're going to finish off with the present day con. And like, I just barfed it all out on the page and sent it to my agent. And she said, yeah, let's send it. And so then they bought that. And so I had a pretty solid map to write from. It was maybe a smart way to do things. I'm not currently doing that again. but
it seemed to work out.
Yeah. I mean, why would I make my job easier?
Right.
But it was a smart way to do that because I had a very short time period in which to write it. I had maybe 10 months to actually get it to my editor. So,
wow, that is fast.
Yeah.
And you are in LA, right?
Yes.
And LA, like, I just feel like it's such a great character also in the book and the story. Just, I mean, I don't know. It was so visual and vivid and kind of the way, I don't know, I always driving in LA is my worst fear, but like just even how I don't want to give anything away, but like just, all the settings that you used really, I felt added tension to each part of the story so well. I really like that.
Yeah. I mean, like I live in LA. So for me, writing a book in the middle of the pandemic, research was like either I write about where I live or I go on Zillow and Google.
Yep.
And so, and some of the book is set in Reading, Pennsylvania, but most of it is set here in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this Facebook user, unfortunately, we can't see their name because they're not, it's probably someone in Reader's Coffee House and they're not
Sure.
registered, but do you lead your characters or do they lead you, and do they change the story sometimes?
I think a lot of times my characters start out one way, and then as I progress through a book, I realize that the way that they are isn't working, so I have
Yeah.
to change who they are. Sometimes I'll change their job, sometimes I'll change how they feel about another person, and what that relationship is like. Sometimes I'll change sort of their either passivity or their agency a little bit, beef one up, pull it back a little. And so they do change, especially as I get a grasp of like, what is the story really about? Then I have to go back and change my characters to make sure that they're sort of modeling what I want my story to be about, and exhibiting those traits on the page. I so I would say that it's sort of a give and take. Like I create them, I invent them, and then sometimes I realize that as the story's changing, I need to change them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And that makes sense because your stories are very character driven. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really about, especially this story, it's really about these two women.
Yeah.
And so empowering too, really,
Yeah.
which is what I love too. I have all these dog ears but I can't read them because I'm gonna give something away of like really powerful scenes where these women are pointing out so much truth in the world, but it's done in such a nice story way that even if you weren't, I mean, I love that, but even if you don't, or if you don't really care about that in that particular time when you're reading the book, it's done in such a nice way that drives the story forward while also driving the message. Really
yeah, I mean, that's my hope. I really do want the characters to feel real, and I want them to sort of live a lived experience that women in the world have, and that was true with The Last Flight as well. And sort of the way that women are not, taken seriously. I mean, Meg uses that to her advantage. She's a beautiful woman, and she works in these sort of fuzzy careers of, I'm a college student in one place in the book, another place she's a dog walker, she's maybe a photographer, in one part of the book she's a life coach. And these are like careers that I would say powerful men don't take very seriously, and because they don't take them seriously, they don't take her seriously, which is exactly what she wants. She doesn't want anybody to take her too seriously. She wants them to underestimate her so that she can take advantage of them, which she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so good at it too. Was that hard to come up with? Like all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to make sure that everything worked. And there were some times when I'd be emailing an attorney friend and I'd be like, if that's not possible, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to take this section out, and I'm going to have to change everything. And so there were some last minute like phone calls and, making a quick change so that Meg goes out of state for something, because staying in state for it wouldn't have worked. It would have been a red flag. And so just a lot of like last minute things of like, oh my gosh, the last thing I want is a bunch of emails from readers telling me like there's no
that would never work.
Like, here's a plot hole. Yes.
I'll get them anyway. I know that, I'm sure that there are places that are not at, I think that was the other reason why I said it in California, is because I had the most people here that I could ask about how does real estate work? How does the law work? How does, and not necessarily, it's not the same everywhere else.
Right.
No.
But that's why the last con I just loved. It was so intricate, and
it's very specific to Los Angeles. I have no idea if that would work in a different state. And I wasn't in a position to try to figure that out when I knew that I had experts here who would be able to tell me yes or no quickly.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the cons? Did you like kind of search them out, or look for examples?
I don't know. I don't really, you guys know what it's like after you're like, I don't know how to do that. It's just kind of
did I get that?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like amnesia that happens after you've written a book.
Yes.
And you don't really remember early versions, and you don't always remember sort of like what they did first that didn't work. You only think like, well, this is just how it always was, and that's not the case. I think with the first con that Meg pulls with the high school principal, I really was focused on that transition from a young girl in sort of a desperate situation, personal situation, to the realization that she has more power than she ever thought she had, and that she could wield that power in a way that would balance the scales of justice a little bit. And so that was the goal for that con, was sort of her figuring out, and there are several in that section of her just really figuring out like, hey, I have this skill. Let me try it out and see what happens, and that was really fun. I mean, it was really fun to have her start small and realize like, hey, this works, and then get a little bigger and a little bigger until she's ready to kind of fly off.
Yeah. And that was a smart con for her first one too, because it made her, that was the one that made her, at least for me, I thought, oh, wow, she's way more than just a con artist. I mean, she's doing this for a really good reason and noble reason, kind of even.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have a question. I'm dying to know this too. How do you balance your time between writing and a full-time teaching? And you have a family. Oh yeah, those people. But how do you balance all your
I compartmentalize a lot. And so writing time is really writing time, and it's maybe 2 hours a day. It's not a lot. And I think that's the big myth that a lot of people think, that if you want to write a book, you need to quit your job and find a space and, guard your 4, 6, 8 hours a day. I mean, I know very few writers that write for more than 3 or 4 hours a day, unless we're on a deadline, unless maybe you. But I don't, for me personally, like I can push, like I said, if I'm on a deadline, definitely I'm working 6, 8 hours a day. But otherwise, creatively, it just kind of turns to mush after a few hours, and then I'm ending up cleaning it up anyway. So, you kind of know when you hit your stopping point. You're like, anything I write beyond now is just going to get trashed tomorrow. So let's stop and call it a win. But yeah, I mean, 2 to 3 hours a day is really, really my max when I'm not on a deadline. And so I get up very early in the morning so I can get those 2 to 3 hours in. And then I'm done for the day. It's a great feeling, to get my writing work done by 7 a.m.
So what time do you get up? Are you the 5 a.m.
I'm up way before 5. I wake up my alarm goes off at 3:45.
Gosh, Julie, I don't know.
That's crazy. What time do you go to bed?
Oh, like 8:39. Yeah.
We better get to the giveaway then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good. No, it's only 6:30 here.
I'm teasing, but it is time for the giveaway. I'm like, oh my God, Julie's got to wrap things up. Yeah, it might be 6:30, but you probably have a whole nother job to do right now. Anyway, so Heather, would you like to talk about? I know we could talk all night with Julie, obviously.
Absolutely. So yeah, Julie is so generous, and her publisher, they're giving away 2 copies of The Lies I Tell. And all you have to do is answer this question about our killer guest, and we'll pick from the correct answer. Bonus points for subscribing to our YouTube channel. So the question is, what kind of pup does Julie have? And so go ahead and drop that in the comments, and to win a chance to win one of 2 copies of The Lies I Tell from Julie. And we will leave the giveaway up for 24 hours. So you can come back and listen and re-listen and add your answer to the comments section. So good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Yeah,
good luck.
Yeah.
And don't cheat.
Don't cheat. Well, you can go back and watch it, because this will be after we go off the air. You can always go back and watch it if you missed it.
Yes.
That's right.
We also, the Killers, love indie bookstores. And so we always ask our authors to choose one. Julie's is Diesel, a bookstore in Santa Monica, California. I will be dropping the link in the comments for her book there. You can order it online, or if you're in the area, you can swing by. But Julie, tell us what's so special about Diesel.
It is our only independent bookstore in Santa Monica, so it is near and dear to everybody's hearts. It's in the Brentwood Country Mart, which is a landmark really here in Santa Monica / right on the border of Brentwood and Santa Monica. It looks like a red barn, and they have like barn doors, and the Diesel folks are so friendly and so helpful. They are always like, anytime I take my kids in there, they are like, read this, read that, you know. And my older kid is like, okay. And my younger kid is like,
Yeah. It's such a great store, and it has like this really warm feeling. When we first moved to California, we were in Malibu, and the Diesel there had closed, and so I got to go that was the closest independent bookstore to me too. And
yes.
Yeah, it's such a great place.
I love it. I love it. And it's been there forever. And so Santa Monica residents and local authors are like devoted to the store, to the staff.
They're so supportive. It's awesome.
It's just really, really, really important to us that we support them.
Yeah. So here you are doing just that.
Yeah.
And Julie, you did it. You survived the Killer Author Club. And something we do here at the Killer Author Club is bequeath you with a badge.
We put it on your face.
Yes. You survived your time here with us with the Killers. And so, you know, we hope that you maybe print that out, stick it on your computer or on the wall, just as a reminder that you survived, you did it. So thank you for being here.
Having me.
I know that Kara's got a few more words to say, but I hope everybody sticks around through the closing credits, because we have a little extra special something. One of my favorite artists, Sarah Phillips, came out with a brand new song, and it just happened to be called Killer. And I saw it on her Instagram page, and I thought, oh, this would be perfect. And so I asked her, I said, can we borrow it for our closing frame of the episode? And she was so happy to share. So she is one of the most beautiful singers I've ever heard, very hauntingly beautiful singer. So her name is Sarah Phillips. And so just stick around for the very end.
Stick around to the end. It'll be very exciting. Okay, so Julie, thanks again. I'm going to now lead you into the next episode. Our next Killer Author guest is a USA Today bestselling award-winning author of 13 novels and has been called one of the best thriller writers working today. And he just might be our first male guest. Go figure. I'll let you guys think about that reason when we're on episode 75,000. Anyhow, okay. So girl power, apparently. You'll definitely want to join us for that episode. It's Tuesday, July 19th. 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. In the meantime, go shopping at Killer Author Club, go shopping at Diesel Bookstore. And thanks again to Julie. And also, you guys follow us on Facebook, Instagram, our YouTube channel. Follow Julie everywhere. She's going to be on tour for a long time. So you've been listening to her for a while. Yeah. So it was great to be with you, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on all your success. It's amazing. And now stick around for our new indie.
I guess